Yeah.
The mind, we have the category pain and pleasure. Pain not wanted, pleasure wanted. But when that layer starts to dissolve because we are no longer energizing that form of thinking and labeling, pain is still recognized as this flavor that's a little difficult and not that pleasant. But when the knowing of it is direct and unfiltered without the thinking about it, the naming of it as unwanted pain, and the tasting of it is direct, then there's no name, there's no category pain. And then what is known is the energetic of the sensation itself. And this is what the instinct, what I'm calling this instinct, is looking for. But it's not looking for tomorrow. It's not looking in tomorrow. It's looking in reality, in this present moment. And the more that can be tasted directly, the more the beliefs and structures of avoidance and numbing will start to settle and become irrelevant. Because, for example, let's say you live in a country where there's a lot of crime, and all your life all you know is you have to close the windows and be very prepared for all of the crime in your house and be safe. And then suddenly you either move to another country, or hypothetically the crimes issue is fixed absolutely and completely and totally. Now all of the structure of safety, of protection, becomes irrelevant. And so what we're trying to do, which doesn't work, is try to avoid pain. And in that way, fix the problem of pain. But what the path of freedom is to realize not to create pain for no reason, but to see that when pain comes, it's not threatening what we believe it to be threatening. We believe that if there is too much pain, I am not okay. And in fact, fear arises, and the sense is, if this pain grows, I will disappear. It's a fear of death, the fear of ending. And so we're often not associating correctly. Obviously, if I'm shot in the chest, that pain is equating the ending of this body, possibly. But often it's emotional. It's a social risk, or some much lesser pain, and often associated more likely to an illusion, something that's not actually happening. But even if something is happening and it's felt in emotionally painful, like the ending of a relationship, that is avoided as if it equates to dying.
Mm.
And then what can be known is the experience of tasting that pain directly without any filtering, and recognizing I am completely and absolutely fine.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of the structure and energy and obsession put towards avoiding that kind of pain becomes irrelevant.
Yeah.
There's many layers there, because part of it is the false interpretations that are in service of trying to turn something into something that's manageable, that I can control, and I can avoid, that I can numb. And all of that is just let's say, the ignorance in the Eastern sense of calling something not for what it is. And so in Eastern philosophy or spiritual language, ignorance is illusion. And so it's not about knowing, it's not about intellectual knowing, it's not about reading books, it's about believing something that is not true. And so when at this level we're interpreting a situation, for example, there can be a true real energy of, let's say, an aggression directed towards you from somebody else. But then the mind can interpret that as, let's say, wrong in the sense that if it happens and I allow it, it'll create a certain damage. And this is where it's very tricky what I'm saying, because some things we need to really protect from and say no to, and some things, especially when it's already happened, let's say this is happening right now, misinterpreting it so that we can control the energy of what's already happening is not going to help, neither in the clarity of how to relate to it, engage with it, or disengage with it, nor is it going to help with dealing with what's already happening in the energetic, in your body and in your mind. And so this is where it's very tricky, because there's a certain openness to, in the moment of what is happening, if there's an aggression coming, where a certain openness can allow that to move through and come and go and fully pass, but at the same time have the clarity to say no to that circumstance in whatever way is the best response in that moment, where protection is appropriate. Yeah, and the body and the mind can also react in wisdom in a social situation to say no to something that's inappropriate. But then how to deal with what's already happening, for if one can see what is happening without illusion, without ignorance, it'll move through more quickly and appropriately. And the body and the mind will actually have its own wisdom of how to integrate it, manage it, clear it. It's like the health of the body with an invading virus. Same with an energetic that's coming, that the body and the mind is able to process that in a way that will bring just a healthy response and a healthy process. And the more you can taste things directly, there will be a certain kind of pleasure in that, because there's a freedom in that movement. That's my sense of what you were referring to. It's that taste of freedom in knowing the energetic, tasting the movement of the energetic directly, and have it come and go, because there isn't an attachment or an engagement with it, a needing for it to not come or to go, or any forcing of that. And at the same time, all of this is happening, what you're describing, and what I was referring to in the meditation, which is the knowingness, is completely unaffected, which doesn't mean one does not say no to something. And there's different levels depth of that freedom, where one can be free from more and more of the pains that are of the feeling emotional, but still there can be a trigger around the fear of the death of the body, the ending of the body. And that, in a sense, is the ultimate one. But it is a layered process normally, so that we first free up from the psychological sense of the ending of the identity of the person, because we see through the illusion of that person having to be or being any particular way, or that I am that in any particular way. And so the ending of a relationship can be very painful, but it's not experienced with the sense of the ending of what I am. It's not associated with death. But then the ending of the body is another level, it's another layer. And that can also be approached in the same way, because the ending of the body, what it implies is a belief. We have no idea what happens when the body ends, when the body dies. And so the fear of death is a reaction to a belief about what happens.
Mm-hmm.
And that can be clarified as well. What I would highlight there is you saw something, so you tasted something and you saw something. I would highlight that as a tasting of reality or of truth. But then what will happen is the activation of the fear of death will come and appear multiple times, likely, without that knowing that you tasted.
Did you?
Yeah, so there was a moment of seeing, tasting, that the body can go and there's no fear, right? But another moment, there might be a fear of the body ending and there's fear. It's not, you don't have that clarity, you don't have that. But in that moment is where you can see more truth. When that fear activates and the clarity that you had seen isn't clear in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So think of it as an illusion, like I have a fear of ghosts, and I always think that the ghost is in the bathroom. And I once in a while manage to, when that fear is there, go to the washroom. And then what I experience is I see something that to me is the ghost. And then I'm terrified and I run out of the bathroom. Over and over and over, this happens. But then at one point, I see what seems to be the ghost and I'm not afraid. I have a sense, it seems like an optical illusion, it's not really there. And then there's a moment of a complete clarity where you see through that.
Yeah.
There's no fear. But then the day after, you go to the washroom again and you see the thing and it scares you. It's like, well, but I already saw through that. But there's something in the belief, in the misinterpretation of the perception and the projection of the mind onto that optical illusion that still ignites and triggers this terror. And so at that moment is where you can look more closely, look more deeply, with the understanding from yesterday that that was truth, that you saw through that illusion, and now you have to look at it more closely, more closely, more closely, and taste the fear and look more closely at the illusion. And in that work, fully uproot the belief.
Yeah.
Seeing something once, even totally, all it gives you, which is really, it's almost like all that is needed, but it's very powerful, but it gives you the taste of truth. That's not, it's like 50% of what is needed. The rest is now when that illusion reappears, to see it more clearly and to see it more fully. Like that's another metaphor.
Yeah.
It's like you can see that you see once life you saw the rope and you ran away thinking it's a snake. But one day somebody's like, no, look closely. And you look closely, it's like, oh, it's a rope. But tomorrow you see a rope and you run.
It's like,
yeah, until you're able to, every single time, you're able to walk up closely enough to look more clearly and see it's obvious that it's a rope. It's just a matter of how close can you look.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean, like, look closely at the thoughts, look closely at the sensation, experience it directly, recognize how much of it is mind, much of it is beliefs, and it'll become more and more and more and more clear, to the point that it is so obvious it can no longer ignite any emotional reaction. Even when the mind said, when you have the experience snake, you will recognize that's a thought, it's an interpretation, and then you look and you see a rope. But the interpretation of the mind, even if the habit of the mind says snake, it will not ignite any fear, because you see it 100% as a thought and not a reality.
Yeah.
And this is when this happens, pretty much on every interpretation around pain, about death, then that is called liberation. And what it implies is, and requires, there's a mirror side to that, which is the belief in what I am. Because for the snake to be a problem, I need to believe that I am a body and the snake can end me.
Yeah.
And it's the sense that I am limited, that I have a beginning and an end, and the end is something terrible, that I imagine what it is, which is some kind of scary thing. And when that belief is dropped, then there will be fear, there will be pain, but something is entirely different, where the effect of it, the pain is known directly and it comes and goes, and the fear, most of them dissolve, and the few that are natural are relevant normally to what is happening, and they have a certain kind of function and utility, and the ones that are just habitual are known and recognized as habitual and not absolutely true or real. And habitual reactions that will no longer become, or less and less, because they will be known more and more as just a habitual. You will recognize your habit of looking at a rope and thinking it's a snake, So whenever you look at something that looks like a snake, I'm like, here it is again, very likely a rope. And then, so you won't have the reaction. And then you look, and again, it's a rope. You recognize the habits, so you won't react to them.
Yeah.
It all requires assuming a position that is real, that is experienced as real, which is I am here, I am this, and not that.
What's that doer, the subject?
It has
Yeah.
many aspects, right? This is, yeah, that we can talk about in many different ways. It's quite complex because the mind creates a very complex structure that is, it is what is known as ego. It's the mind. But what happens is we then associate everything of what I am is identical identity, like an equal sign. 2 + 2 is 4. 2 and 4 are the same thing. That's what equal means. And so ego, mind, and I, what I am, are the same. This is the illusion.
Yeah.
Uh,
Thing is.
yeah, and everything that happens to you and the body is in time and is important and can be tragic. And then all of the energy of the body and the mind gets tied up into the avoiding of pain, the seeking of pleasure, the instincts of survival. In this kind of conversation, the mind will go to a point of, well, but if I don't do this, and then I will become crazy and reckless if I'm not protecting. But actually, the stupid, crazy, reckless also comes from beliefs. And so those will go as well if we are really disidentifying from thought. The reckless behavior and being mean, all of that will also come from beliefs, and those will go. They will have to go. Otherwise, the identity hasn't really been seen through. Yeah, but it can be both. You've had big experiences, and so it's both. Thank you, Irina. Thanks for sharing. I have a few more minutes, maybe 10, 15 minutes if somebody has something.